Hi everyone, Heather Cooper here, running a little bit late, but today I just wanted to show you how to work the Gilded Leafing Embellishment. And for me it's still a learning curve, so I'm kind of working along with you, I think, on this. So I'm going to be trying to recreate this card, although I'm going to do it a little bit differently than I did this one, with hopefully the chance of a little more success on it. So this is all part of the Fine Art Floral Suite in the Mini Catalogue, which I had with me, and now I don't. Okay, anyway. We'll get started. You can take a look in your Mini Catalogue at the Fine Art Floral. And if you don't know me, my name is Heather Cooper. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Canada. And I have never done any kind of gilded leafing before. So over the weekend was the first time I tried it. And I found out that there was definitely a learning curve involved. So I'm going to show you some things I learned, and hopefully all the things that I did wrong will help you to avoid making the same mistakes. So I'm going to start with a black card base. Somehow it just makes anything artsy look more artsy. So. And then I'm going to set it aside for a moment. I'm going to take some of the Fine Art Floral Designer Series paper. It's on the back of this design, and it looks as though it is oil painting brush strokes on this side. And I'm going to take the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder here, and I'm going to add texture to this background by inserting it into the embossing folder and then running it through our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So I'm just going to bring that over for you, and I've got the wrong, I think I've got the whole wrong thing for you. So, not very well prepared here this morning. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I don't even know if I can do this. Let's see how this works. Oh, that's gonna go through. It's gonna be tight, but it works. So what I've got here is just one plate plus my old magnetic platform from my Big Shot. It's not what we're supposed to use for this, because we do have a proper platform and embossing folder plate to use. But in my rush this morning, I didn't bring them up, but that did work. And I don't know if you can see, but there's some really nice texture on this now. So it really does look like a painted canvas with oil paint on it. So you've got brush strokes in the color, and you've got the actual, you can actually feel the texture on it. All right, so I was lucky that time, got away with that. All right. So now I'm going to add it to my card front. And usually the best thing to use when you've got quite a bit of texture like that is the Tombow glue, the liquid multi-purpose glue. So I'm just going to add some of that. The reason for that is that it kind of fills in all the gaps as you put it on, as you squish it on. It fills in all the surfaces. So the glue also gives you a few minutes to center. Okay, so now we're going to just put that aside for a few minutes. I could add this to my project, so I guess I will. I could use the liquid glue again, or I could just use some Stamp and Seal for this. So I've had a lot of people ask me, they're having difficulties sometimes getting the tape runner started on their Stamp and Seal, and it's okay to just use your thumb and get it going a little bit. It doesn't usually take very much effort to do that, but I also find that if you have one of the silicone craft sheets that you can purchase from Stampin' Up, that if you just use that, just run it along the silicone craft sheet, that it gets it started like really easily. You may have noticed that I've forgotten the ribbon, and this is the Fine Art ribbon, I think it's called. Forgot to bring that up. Seems like that's the story of my life this morning. However, okay. So now we're going to actually get into the gilding part of the whole morning here. So I've got some, I still have Whisper White. The paper mill that created the Whisper White unfortunately had to shut down due to COVID. And so we have a new product called Basic White. Now, from all I've heard, I haven't actually ordered it, so I don't know what it's like, but from all that I've seen on comparison videos, it's almost a total match for Basic White, for Whisper White, except that it's a bit brighter. It's a bit more of a blue white. So in that case, in my eyes, it would be even better than Whisper White. But the thing that I like about Whisper White is how how smooth it is for stamping, and apparently the Basic White has that same smoothness, so we aren't missing anything for that, which is a great relief for me. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do the flower, and it's a two-step stamping process. And when I did this last one, I did the gilding for step number 2. And I'm going to try this flower 2 ways. So I'm going to try it with the gilding for step number 2, okay, and then I'm also going to try a different color for step number 2, and I'm going to try the gilding just in the middle, because I saw another flower where they just did that, and it looked a lot better to my eyes. So I'm going to try it both ways, and we'll see which way turns out better and which we like better. I just didn't like the results I got from gilding for step number 2. Okay, so I'm going to start with Pretty Peacock for step number 1. The first time I stamp it, and I better get out my cleaner here, so I have that handy. First time I'm going to stamp it at full strength, and that's the one that I'm going to use the gilding on for step number 2. So I want a nice dark surface to work on there. And I'm just pressing to make sure that I get a full image. Okay. And then the next time I stamp it, I'm going to stamp off first and then stamp the image. so that I get a lighter color. And then I'm going to use the full image or the full strength color for step number 2. Okay, let's clean that off. I don't like the way I've got the center still a little bit dark, but we'll see what happens there. Okay, so for the first one, what I'm going to do, actually let's use the Versamark. So I think what I'm going to do is just dry the ink a little bit with my heat tool. The reason I'm doing this is that I don't want the gold leaf to go where the wet ink is, okay? I just want it to go where oh, hi Carol. I just want it to go where the Versamark is, okay? So I'm going to use a static remover over top of that. Okay. And I'm going to take the step 2 stamp and ink it up in Versamark ink. And then I'm going to match it up as best I can here. And this one isn't an exact, I've tried to figure out exactly where it would go. It doesn't seem to be an exact science here. So, with photopolymer stamps, it's sometimes good to have something like the Stampin' Pierce mat to give you a little extra, I'm going to put this away, to give you a little bit of extra cushion underneath so that you get a full image. All right, now the thing that I found out about those gilding flakes is that they're extremely light, very, very light, and they fly away like so easily. Oh, so now what I need to do is add the heat and stick powder, because the heat and stick powder is what's going to make those gilding flakes stay on your project. So I'm going to sprinkle on some heat and stick powder and knock it off here. And then it's really important when you heat your heat and stick powder that you don't heat it too much. You want it to get sticky, but if you heat it too long, past the point where it sort of disappears, let's move that out of the way. If you heat it too long, then it won't be sticky anymore. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but you want to just see it just disappear. See, it's just disappearing now. As soon as it's all gone, you want to stop. Okay, and it'll stay sticky for a while, so you don't need to rush. Now, I'm just going to show you that I have this really deep tin, because, whoa, see, you can see it really flies. That was a good illustration. So basically, I'm just going to take out some sheets and just press them onto the picture here. I'm just pulling them off my sweater now. And just pulling them out of the container and pressing them onto the picture. And you don't want them too thick. So you're trying to keep them in a pretty thin layer. And apparently you don't have to rush with the heat and stick powder. It'll stay sticky for a while. And my first time I did it, I thought I had to rush, so I dumped a bunch on and pressed it in, and then as I was brushing it off, I had, like, I think too much on there. So just adding it towards the outside edges. And you can see how light and fly away it is, which is why I took it out of its original container where it could blow all over the place, and just added it to a really deep container that I had. It's a Stampin' Up! One that I've had before. Yeah, that was pretty exciting, wasn't it, Kim? It was like a ticker tape parade or something, I don't know. So just trying to keep it not too, just so that I have all the sticky areas covered up. And then I'm going to bring back the container because you want to save all the extra bits. And I'm going to use like a toothbrush. Now, the people that I've seen with the most success have had a stipple brush that they've used to brush off the extra. I don't have that, so I'm just going to use a soft toothbrush to brush off the excess. And it's still looking pretty rough. And it might even work better to work on a scrap piece of paper and then just empty the scrap paper into the bin when I'm done. So I'm gonna try that out here. But you can see that even if I'm brushing very lightly, it's still leaving brush marks onto the gilding. So I think I need an even softer brush here. So I'm being as gentle as I can. I'm brushing it in different directions as well. Maybe a circular motion might be better. I think that does tend to work a little better. There. That way you're not getting the straight lines through it. There. Well, that's a little bit better than my first attempt, so. Hi, Jan. How are you down there in New Zealand? I think that's the farthest away I've had somebody join me. Jan is my buddy from As You See It Challenges. And she was on the artisan team last year. All right. Well, that was exciting. Okay, so there's... Okay, so a stipple brush is something I'm going to look into buying from somewhere. An art store or something. So for this second one, what we're going to try and do is we're going to use ink for the second layer, and then we're going to try this small image here for the gilding and see if that's a little bit easier. So I'm going to use full strength. Pretty Peacock ink. For second step of the stamping. Hi, Gail. There we go. All right. So we can put the pretty peacock ink away. And I want to dry that ink again. So I'm going to, if you'll bear with me again, I'm going to use my heat tool. I'm just covered with gold. I'm going to glitter all day here. Okay, and then I'm going to use my embossing buddy, my static remover. There we go. All right, now we're going to use this little guy here. And what direction do I want to go? I don't know, it just seems right to go in this direction. So press in like that. Alberta takes second place, Gail, in terms of distance. And this is the heat and stick powder, which you need to use when you're using the Gilded Leafing Embellishments. So sprinkle that on, tap it off. Uh-oh. That kind of went where I didn't want it. Even with the drying the ink and using the embossing buddy. Oh, hi, Colleen, Whitby, Ontario. Okay, you're second place now, Colleen. Nice to have you. Okay, so remember, we want to heat that until it just disappears. Okay, so now it's sticky. So we're just going to take individual leaves, if we can get them here, and just press them onto the heat and stick powder where it's sticky. Try not to get it too thick. Got everything covered? I think so. And then I'm just going to put another piece of paper behind this. I'm going to use this toothbrush. It's not the ideal brush. Like I say, a stipple brush I think is ideal. But now I'm going to try this time in just circular. And I'm going to dump the excess in there. Definitely got to get a stipple brush. Those top bristles are a little bit too stiff, I think, so I'm going to concentrate on the bottom ones. And just trying to get the excess. You see it's definitely stuck places I don't want it to stick. So I either needed to dry the ink longer or use that embossing buddy a little bit more strongly. I'm not really happy with that one. I think the first one had more success. You can see it's going to take a lot of playing around with this technique to learn exactly what to do. So I'm kind of learning along with you here. But you can see all the mistakes I make and then not make them. So I haven't tried Tombow glue, Gail. So I've seen people use the Tombow glue, and I think it works satisfactorily, but then you've got a real mess to clean off your stamps. So if you, what Gail's talking about is if you take a little sponge or your finger, I guess, and just daub the glue onto your stamp, a real thin layer of it, and then stamp the Tombow glue onto your project. And then try using that, because it leaves, if it dries a little bit, it has a sticky residue, and try that for your to add your gilding to, your gilded leafing to. Well, it's kind of interesting. I think I need to brush it a little bit more, but anyway, I would recommend a stipple brush, because of all the people that I've seen having success, the stipple brush is the one that seems to work the best. Definitely recommend a bigger container than the one the Gilded Leafing Embellishment comes in. Definitely, I would say, what was I going to say? Yeah, stipple brush, bigger container. Yeah, just play around. Try it out. So, of the two images, why don't you guys vote? Press 1 if you like this one, 2 if you like that one, and we'll decide which one we're going to use. And while you guys do that, I'm going to stamp the leaves. I'm going to stamp those in Just Jade. And then we will, I've got gold everywhere, oh my gosh. Hopefully it won't get into my ink pads. So I'm just going to stamp the leaves on here. There we go. And then I also want to do my sentiment in Just Jade. I'm going to do I Miss You. Because there's so many people we miss these days, right? You could send this to almost anybody. And we'll just clean those off. Yeah. Looks like number 1 so far. Anyone else have a vote? What do you think, Gail? Which one for you? Yeah, I miss you too, Gail. This will all be over one day. I've been checking on the lists. Looks like it'll be September, October for me to get my vaccine. if all goes as they say it will go. So long to wait. Okay, so we'll go with number 1. So we'll bring my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which I love, by the way. What I love about it most is the pressure. Okay, so we need this, and we need this, and we need one to cut out the sentiment. We'll go with the leaves and the sentiment first. Just a reason why I'm using the my old Big Shot magnetic plate, because they're revamping the Stampin' Emboss magnetic plate. They had too many issues with it warping. That's not going to stay put. So we're on hold for that. But in the meantime, I'm using my old one, which works just fine with this, because I do like a magnetic plate. Some people don't, but I just like the security of it holding in place. So run that through. I really like the pressure of this machine. No matter how intricate the die, I usually only have to run it there through and back again, and it's good to go. So there's my sentiment. I miss you. And there's my leaves. Can't seem to get a hold of them today. Okay. So I did take a little break. I had some Christmas time with my family, and then I had some oral surgery, having some implants put in, and that was what I was doing last Monday. But they're pretty much healed now, so I'll be back on my schedule of Monday mornings at 11 if you want to tune in again. And I'd be happy to have you tune in. All right, I'll go with flower number 1. Okay, and then it's just a matter of putting things together. Sorry for that. I think I hit my camera. Just get rid of the Big Shot. Oh, I need Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's such a large name that I think demonstrators have started coming up with shortened names to call it. Some are calling it a Big Boss. And then the Mini, they're calling the Mini Boss, or the Little Boss. Some are calling it the Skim, I think, for Stampin' Cut and Emboss machines, Skim. What else have I heard? I don't know. But it's so much easier than the big long name. So here's the leaves, just add there, and then we're going to put, and yep, didn't bring up I was going to use dimensionals, so just imagine I'm using dimensionals on this, because I didn't bring them up. I was really unprepared this morning. Looks much better with dimensionals. And we'll put mini dimensionals on this. This is mini dimensionals I'm putting on here right now. Gail, you call it the big boss. Good. Okay, so that goes on there. And then we have these glitter enamel, gold glitter enamel dots that really work out well on this. So we'll just add a few of those to finish it. All right, put one there. So what's your method of deciding where to put these little, you know, whenever you have to add dots to it? How do you balance them out? I kind of squint my eyes and look and sort of see where they balance, and sometimes I move them. So I don't ever press them down really hard. Yeah, definitely misses the little loop of ribbon. That really adds to it, and the dimensionals should pop up. But just look at that. Substitute that flower, which is definitely better than the one I did last time. So I'm learning, it's getting better, and those are the things that I've learned. Anyway, everyone, that is the do's and don'ts and mistakes and things that I've learned about gilding, the Gilded Leafing Embellishment. So that is today's live, Stepping Up Live. And definitely get it. Definitely try that leafing. It is fun to play with. Even at the worst, you get like a gold shower of excitement happening. And, you know, it's easy to clean up. It's not really that hard to clean up. So definitely fun to try. I find that a new technique always gets my creative juices flowing. So anyway, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Lovely to see you all, and hopefully I'll see you again next Monday. Okay, everyone, thanks. Bye-bye.